Hi guys and welcome to my channel. It's Vesna here. Thank you so much for stopping by. For today's video I'm doing 4 dollar store Easter themed DIYs. The first DIY, I'm using these plaques that I got from Dollarama. They came in a package of I believe 6, and I wind up just using one of the plaques, and I'm cutting it in half, and then I'm using one of the halves as a hole, and then I'm going to cut it again in half. I thought I was going to use my miter saw, but I wind up just kind of cutting it with my miter shears. And then I will be painting each of the plaques a different color. I'm using the Rust-Oleum Serenity chalk paint, cotton candy pink acrylic paint, and warm white acrylic paint. After I clean them up, I go ahead and I paint them. And then I use these wooden dowels, square wooden dowels, as my frame around, and I just cut them to size. I wind up staining each of the pieces of dowel in the Rust-Oleum glaze in Java. I love using this as a stain, and all I do is either I use a sponge or just a rag to put it on. Usually I'll do a sponge and then I wipe it off with a rag, which is what I've done here. Then I just hot glue all of these down to fit my frame. For these other two, I wound up having to kind of modify the frame parts a little bit because I ran out of the square dowels. I wouldn't have had enough to make all of them the same, so I wound up using just scrap pieces of wood that I cut into about the shape of the other square dowels. I should have bought 2 packs at Dollarama. Hopefully they have it next time I go because they're proving to be really really good. I've gotten lots of use out of them. Once I glued the frames down, I wound up writing in Hoppy Easter Hip and Hop on each of the different frames. Sometimes I use a pencil and then I go over top with a Sharpie, sometimes I don't. I'm still working on my my Ray Dunn mock font. I don't always want to use my Cricuts, like especially for things that are this small. I tend to like to just write it in. So, practice makes perfect. If you just take your time, you wind up doing a good job on it. And here's what they looked like, all finished. I'm going to be displaying these in my tray, and I'll have that over on my home channel. So if you have some time, stop over on my home channel and check it out. The video will be out by probably middle of next week. And I'm really happy with they turned out. I think they're very cute and they'll go nicely in my little tray. This video is a part of a challenge hosted by Colleen Pasteur. who has a pretty amazing channel. If you haven't had a chance to check her out, she's got lots of home decor inspiration on there. And she's hosting it together with Love, Create, and Celebrate, and that's Linda and Russell. So if you haven't checked their channel out, another really fantastic channel to check out. Super talented channels. I'll have their information linked in my description below, and there'll also be a playlist. Everyone was to do a dollar store DIY, a spring themed dollar store DIY, so that's what I'm creating. For my next DIY, this is even simpler than the previous one. I'm just writing, again, in my Ray Dunn font, carrots on this clay pot. The clay pot I bought at the Dollar Tree. It was a pack of 2 for $1.25. I'm in Canada. Well, actually, it might be $1.50 now. I'm in Canada, and our Dollar Tree is $1.25. Used to be. Now there's items that are $1.50 and items that are $1.25, so it just depends. I use my pencil and then I go over top of the pencil with a Sharpie, and then I'm going to put some moss into this pot. First I use the green moss at the bottom, and then I cover it with some brown moss. You could use floral foam if you wanted to, and then just put a little bit of the brown moss on top to act like dirt. It's up to you. And then I'm putting one of those snowballs from Dollarama that you can get. I'm pretty sure you can get all year long, as the bunny's body, and I'm cutting some felt feet onto it, gluing it down, and I'm using a little piece of fur that I got from from Dollarama, and it was just left over, and I'm popping it on as the tail. And then I'm just adding some carrots that I picked up at the Dollar Tree as well into the pot and putting the body in, and that's all there is to this DIY. If you wanted to make sure that the body stayed, you could put a skewer into the snowball and then use the floral foam. Mine's going to go in a tray, no one's going to touch it, so I don't need to have it be in there secure or glued down or anything like that. And that's all there is to this DIY. I think it turned out really cute. Another item for my tray. I'm so excited to use this. I have a whole carrot theme going on. I did a video where I did all carrot type of DIYs. I can link it here. I'll be linking into the video as well. So make sure you check that out. So again, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you haven't been to my channel before, welcome. On my channel, I do all sorts of home decor DIYs. Everything I do is on a budget, and I try to make them look as good as I can for less money. So if that's the kind of stuff you like, make sure you subscribe to my channel, hit that notification bell, and leave me a comment. Let me know that you stopped by. I also have another 2 channels. I have a cooking channel and a home channel. On the home channel, I display all of these DIYs, so if you're ever interested to see how I use them in my decor, that's where I'll display them. And the cooking channel, I just make all sorts of recipes that are family friendly. So if any of that stuff interests you, make sure you check my channels out, subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Thank you, and on to the next DIY. So this next project that I'm going to show you isn't really a DIY. It's actually the easiest thing you could do. I found these blank eggs at Dollarama. They kind of have like a chalky finish. They're plastic, but they have a chalky finish. And I'm just writing hippity hop and bunny on them. Really easy, really simple. I just wanted to show you in case you were thinking of maybe going getting some of these eggs that are already pre-done and quite pricey. This is a cheaper way of doing it. I think it was $2 for the carton of eggs, so 12 eggs. And I'm using 3 of them. I've already used a few in a different project, and then I'm going to be saving a few to use with my kiddos. They actually come with some dye, so I'll be using that with them as well. But I thought this was a great way to use these. So if you wanted something just to fill your tray, this is a great way to do it. I've seen spring, home, welcome, all sorts of things written on them. So I just wanted to show you how I did these. Like I said, it's not really a DIY. It's kind of just like an up like a refresh, I guess, or like a repurpose. So here they are all finished. And this last DIY is a little bit more involved, but still very easy and inexpensive. I'm using the strainers from Dollarama. They're just the mini strainers, some felt, and some paint. I'm going to be using some, and a little bit of rope. I'm going to be using warm white and metallic acrylic paint. And that's it. Very easy, and some hot glue. So I removed the packaging, and all I'm doing is hot gluing them one into the other to make it look like a bunny head with its ears. And then I'm going to be painting it first in the warm white, then I'm going to smush it a little bit with my fingers, and I'm going to add some metallic, and then I'll add a little bit of warm white just to get kind of like a more antiqued age look to this bunny. Once the bunny dries, I use some felt to cover his ears. So just use white felt, and what I do is I cut around, and then I make a little bit of a bigger piece because I realize that this is a little bit too tight. So I make a bit of a bigger piece, and then I use that white piece to measure how big I need the pink piece to be for the ear. Then I add some felt for the nose, and I use a foam because I didn't have black felt, so I use foam strips for his whiskers, black foam. Originally, I was just going to use a bit of cotton for his nose, but then I decided to use the felt as I thought the cotton was too big. And that's all there is to this one, other than his little bow, which I made out of that jute rope, or sorry, the nautical rope that I got. And he's gonna look great on my tray as well. All I did for the bow was I just tied it into just like a nice little bow, kind of like you would with your shoelace. And that's all there is to this guy. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you check out the playlist and the hosts of this video, and check out the videos I'm recommending at the end here, and subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Thanks again for watching, and have a great day.